Welcome to Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. B for brand, D for development, and M for masters. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By watching the Follow the Brand TV series, you will learn how to differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients. As the saying goes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's jump into our next episode on Follow the Brand TV. This episode is brought to you by
5-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Welcome again to your #1 YouTube personal brand channel. I am Grant McGaugh. It's an honor for me to recap the story of a great personality who has consumed herself with executive achievement in the healthcare industry. She is a well-known former hospital CEO. She serves as a strategic advisor for RMP Group, LLC. She formerly served as president and chief executive officer of 4 hospitals in Washington, D.C., Michigan, and Toledo, Ohio. When you have a goal to become an amazing CEO, you must learn how you are perceived by others. Focusing on your personal brand will help you to gain trust and cooperation with your team of high-performing executives. She understood this principle early in her career as she details her story. To better understand her accomplishments, I'll recap our conversation from the Follow the Brand podcast interview in episode 5. Our guest today is Miss Andrea Price. I asked Andrea what was the one thing that she wished she had known before she began her career. Her answer may surprise you.
Sure. I would say the one thing I wish I'd known before I began my career was how many times I had to prove myself over and over and over again. I had no idea. I was naive. I thought that if I had the educational attainment, if I had the credentials in my field, if I'd been successful in the positions that I had the privilege to obtain, then it wouldn't be any question. And that just didn't happen. And so I was a little disenchanted because I'm thinking, but I've proven myself. Why are you questioning me? I mean, people would look at me and say, oh, she's Black. They would look at me and say, oh, she's a woman. They would look at me and said, are you still in college? Yes, unfortunately or fortunately, when I started my career in DC, I looked very young. And so people assume, knowing nothing about me, that there's no way I could occupy the positions that I had because I was too young.
I felt her passion as she described the constant battle to prove herself continuously through her career. I then wanted to know how she did define her personal brand, and how has it helped her to succeed in her career?
I would tell you, I always tell people when people talk about brand, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. I learned that early in my career. And what I learned is when I wasn't around, people said a lot of positive things about me that I didn't know they were saying. When I started my career, I became known as a doer. And that's what the president and CEO, I said, doer, what is that? He said, you get things done, Andrea. He said, you really do. And he said, I think people are going to always underestimate you because they're going to look at you and say, no, not her. And you're going to prove them wrong every single time. And at the time, you know, you're young, you're like, okay, Don, okay, that's what you said. But he was absolutely right every single time. And so, you know, as I progressed through my career ladder, it became known that I was the one who could execute on strategic priorities, work with teams, gather people, get them done, meet deadlines, exceed, whatever. And so that's what I was known for. So there are a lot of things I was able to do early on, young. You know, we would have these natural disasters. They would make me in charge of the command center. And everybody's coming in, they're like, who in charge? She's in charge? And I'm directing people what to do, pick up people, where to go. I mean, you know, it was just, you know, amazing. And so, you know, even when I was rounding on patients and family members, people were like, who are you again? And I'll explain who I am and why I was there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I used to surprise the physicians. They would be rounding and they're like, Andrea Price, why are you up so early? I'm like, the last time I checked, a hospital never closed. Why are you up so early? So I would laugh and joke with them. And so people just, you know, it kind of known that I'm a person who would show up unannounced, no matter what time, no matter what day, and you know, just have a little fun with the staff and the physicians because they don't expect people at the executive level to do that.
What did you think of her answer? I like the fact that she knew her brand early and was able to use it to overcome perceptions. Naturally, I needed to find out how she got that first leadership role. Listen as she details her trajectory to the C-suite.
Sure. While I was at Children, when I completed my administrative fellowship, there was no guarantee that they would keep me on. But I worked like nobody business that 12 months to prove to them that they should keep me on. And they did. And so I became the assistant to the chief operating officer. There was a switch, the CEO left, and then the chief operating officer became the CEO. When he did that, he promoted me to like a staff role, like an assistant vice president of administrative affairs. It was still a staff role. I had no line responsibilities. And so then one day he called me in the office, Sandra, I think you're ready for line management. And totally unannounced, he started quizzing me. I'm like, Don, what are you doing? I thought you were coming to give me an assignment. You're interviewing me and quizzing me. And he said, yeah, I want to see if you're ready. And so afterwards, he said, I think you are. And so that was my first line management role. I had 5 departments reporting to me. And so now I had to learn, I'm not the person that's always doing. Now I have to delegate and work through others to get things done. And so that was a great learning responsibility of me because I learned people aren't like me. I'm one of these people, let's get it done. What's the deadline? What's the time? What do you need to see? And people aren't like that. Not that they can't perform, but they're not going to perform in the manner in which I do. So it was, once I learned that, I got promoted again and I got promoted again. And I think the pinnacle for me was when the chairman of the cardiovascular surgery department went to the president and said, I want to report to Andrea Price. And he said, excuse me, I don't think I heard you. He said, he said, you want to report to Andrea Price? He said, yes, I do. He said, she gets things done. When she say yes, she means yes. When she say no, she means no. I'm a surgeon and I like that. And I want to report to her. In fact, I'm demanding that I report to her. And he was like, okay, so the person he no longer reported to was not happy that he was reporting to me. And we had a great relationship. Everyone in his department were men. And so I said, if you're going to report to me, I want you to at least, when an opening comes, look for a woman as a cardiovascular perfusionist. And he said I would. He did, and he hired one.
I was most impressed how she was able to pivot from a doer to expert in working with people and creating great relationships. I asked Andrea about her unique skill that she leveraged again and again to help her climb the corporate ladder.
Sure. I would say it took me a while to realize this, but after enough people told me, especially those who were, conducting my performance evaluation and my teammates, I would say my superpower is my influence. I have the uncanny ability, I didn't know it at the time, to get people comfortable with where the organization wants to go, their organization goes. And so I would get them to create commitment around achieving those. And what I did was I did that through guidance and coaching. So for example, if you reported to me and there was a report that was due to me, I will review it and give you feedback, even though it was coming to me. And so people are like, you do that? I mean, my colleagues I was like, yes, because I want them to succeed. And they were like, oh, we never thought about that. And so then it became like he or she is on Andrea's team. So throughout the hospital, people would say, oh yeah, they report to Andrea. That's why they're so good. And so it just created this whole thing. And they were like, well, how do you get your people to do what you need to do? I said, first of all, you have to be authentic. And first of all, you have to set expectations. I said, I'm known in the hospital as setting very clear expectation and holding people accountable. And they like it. So, so I would say my ability to influence people to do what needs to get done.
Influence, guidance, and coaching were her keys to success. Have you done the internal assessment of yourself to determine your unique skill sets? Imagine that you are working with a famous doctor that would one day become a household name. Let's find out from Andrea about her 5 minutes of fame.
Well, I gave a little teaser earlier when I talked about my second semester of graduate school that I became really ill and I was told that I was going to die. Well, when I got to DC, and because I had an excellent physician, I decided I need to learn more about this disease that I have. And so I'm one of these people, when I don't know anything, I investigate and I research. And so I did. I found out there was a chapter. I joined the chapter, ended up becoming the chairman of the board. And because I was chairman of the board, the Lupus Foundation of America asked me if I would be their national spokesperson. So I became the national spokesperson. So as the national spokesperson, I represented them. So I used to have meetings at NIH with the famous Dr. Anthony Fauci.
No way.
And yeah, I used to go to his office. I had no idea who he was. Okay, so anyway, so we would meet at NIH, and then the executive director of the Allergy and Asthma Foundation of America. There were 3 organizations, I can't think of the third one, that would go and meet with him and talk about, well, what is the research, that's going to help people that have these type of diseases. As a result of that, I ended up going to a congressional budget committee representing the Lupus Foundation of America to advocate on behalf. It was recorded in the Federal Register and everything, my remarks, to advocate that NIH receive additional budget funds in order to advance research for autoimmune diseases, right?
Right.
While I was there at the congressional hearing, there were 2 other people waiting with me to speak. One was William Shatner from the Star Trek series. The other one was someone I really admired, Dr. Mary Frances Berry. Dr. Berry was the Secretary of Education under President Clinton. At the time I met her, she was the chair of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. And she was there because her niece was 21 years old and died from lupus. And she was there advocating money for the research for lupus. And so we got to talking. I'm thinking, okay, Andrea, just calm down, because I really admire this woman. And so, of course, she took the show. They bowed down to her. And I'm thinking, I gotta go speak after this woman, because they had us lined up. And so I did. I did it. And afterwards, she said, "Would you like me to drop you off at home?" I was like,
Wow.
I was just gonna take the subway. And she said, "Sure." We got to talking. She told me all about her niece, how devastated they were. She died from lupus. And she was asking me all these questions about me and lupus, because I was 24, 25, whatever. And, how I was holding up and all that type of stuff. And so that's something someone doesn't know. And then the last thing I would say, because I was the national spokesperson for the Lupus Foundation America, I was interviewed on the Tom Brokaw ABC Evening News.
Is that right?
2 minutes. Now, it's only 30 minutes and usually get 30 seconds.
Right.
They gave me 2 minutes. They sent a whole production crew to my house in DC, followed me around, interviewed me, had my daughter who was 2 years old. They were fascinated that she knew how to read certain words, and they filmed her, and she was on TV reading to me. Not reading, but Apple card, that's
Right.
how she's only 2 years old. How is she able to do this? I was thinking, I thought y'all were interviewing me about lupus and following me around, but it was all good. So though I would say that is something that very little people know about me.
Hey everyone, I want to thank you for watching this episode on Follow the Brand TV. Remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get our new episodes as they are released. Also, make sure to visit our website at www.5starbdm.com. Until next time, build a 5-star brand that people can follow.